Yep. Good morning, happy Friday. Welcome to the Pitch Chronicles. I'm Uncle Tats, and Donald will be joining shortly. Luca has the day off. But listen, it's never a good feeling when you're proven wrong, and hearing the comments from Cashman and Boone. We're just fools. Um, we thought that they were running the same team back. I did not know that Bellinger was not on the team last year. I did not know that Ahmed Rosario was on the team last year. I didn't know that Trent Grisham was on the team last year. I thought they signed a whole new team with some of the free agents that were available. Now I was wrong, but then again, Ryan Weathers was traded for, who was not on the roster last year, so they are not running it back. And it's it's just an insult. It's an insult to all of us that they want to just keep saying, no, there's nothing to see here. There's nothing wrong, and it's beyond aggravating because like some of us have been saying in the chat, we've been saying on the show, you see it on social media. We're tired of just being a playoff team. We're desperate to be that World Series contender. And that's where really, a lot of the frustrations abound from, is with not really looking for World Series aspirations. We should be lucky enough that we have an organization that is going to put a roster together that's going to. Sorry about that. The dog knocked my mic out. We should just be satisfied with the fact that we're not, just because we don't win the World Series doesn't mean that this team is not a World Series caliber team. I'm like, you can't use the justification how we. Yeah, I got it, Edith. Yeah, it's, as you can see, I got a 150-pound problem trying to wiggle around. It's, you can't say that, they want to say it's not the same team as last year. Right? We regroup. The fact that, yes, we have some players that were not on the opening day roster that are still on the team, because of the players that we acquired at the trade deadline. Okay, we'll just say, look, we have, we have a very similar team to last year. A lot of the players we brought back, and a big part of it is because that we were able, rather than going for, the, extend, the expiring contracts, we brought in people in the trade deadline that are currently under control. So yes, as much as we want to, we're not running it back. We're not going into opening day with the same roster we did last opening day. That would make what they said the other day a factual statement. That would be a factual statement. Otherwise, no, you're running the same team back. And this is not a World Series caliber team. Okay? Some of the pros to what they're saying, because there are pros to it. It's not all bullshit. We don't have Devin Williams on the roster anymore. We have David Bednar. So are we going to, blow as many games as Devin Williams did last year? There's a lot of the blown saves from the closing position is the reason why we only ended up tying with the Toronto Blue Jays, that could, you know what? You can't put fault in that. You call it as it is. You're right. We're not going into the season with a questionable closer. We have Bednar, who is a proven closer. So that's where we are with that. You know, we're not going into the season with Anthony Volpe at shortstop. We're going to have Jose Caballero. Nothing to really write home about that, but you're still going to get, any improvement there is an improvement. So you get to these situations, it's like, come on. Like, you can't keep telling us the same. You can't keep, telling us that, there's stuff to be hopeful for, and how last year was some, great year because you tied for first place but it was a technicality. It was because of a tiebreaker. It wasn't because we were just, as we were, neck and neck with the Blue Jays. You're banking on the fact that you want, is Jazz going to have another 30-30 season? Is Grisham going to put up the same numbers as he did last year? Is Cole going to come back as and have ace material? Is Rodon going to come back? We saw with his first year with us, injuries, kind of, put him on a seesaw year. So, yeah, there are situations where you can say, yes, running it back, they can still reach the same plateau as they did last year. But what has Cashman done? I used this phrase the other day. We've been saying it over and over again for years. What move has Cashman made that pushed his team over the top? They haven't done that. Getting Freed, put the rotation over the top. And hopefully Freed has a better postseason than he did last year. His postseason was left a lot to be desired. Not that he was crap, but it left a lot to be desired. It could have been better. Donald, how you doing this morning?
What up? What up? How is everyone doing after that revolutionary amount of bullshit that you just had to endure from Brian Cashman the other day? Did you guys do well with that? Honestly, I think Brian Cashman deserves a ton of credit because now he's got a PhD in gaslighting. It's like gaslighting to a PhD level. Like he should be teaching seminars on it. It's so good. It is so good. It's amazing. So let's say we gotta look at this. It's so good, man. It deserves a ton of credit. His way of saying that we aren't running it back is just amazing. It is just amazing. Let's say I need to try and I have got to get the quote up because it's too good. It is far too good. Here we go. Brian Cashman offered some pushback and lengthy response when asked about fan concern that the Yankees are running it back. Shout out to Gary Phillips. All right, here we go. First, we have really good players, a collection of really talented players. It's not the same roster. I would differ there. We have some players at some point returning from the IL that are important players. Garrett Cole being one of them. But we had some additions from the second half that got their feet wet with the Yankees. Feet wet. That's it. Feet wet. Got their feet wet with the Yankees. Got to get those feet wet. Some with failures or success. But they'll now be in a position to join us with their feet on the ground and getting their sea legs under them. Here we go. Sea legs again. With a manager too learning after 8 years? Learning how to utilize these guys, where they slot and everything else. And Cashman added that the Yankees acquired a lot of weapons before the 2025 trade deadline. Oh, right. So I disagree. It's the same team running it back. There's going to be some differences, and the competition is going to be different too. Revolutionary PhD in bullshit and gaslighting. Absolutely amazing. Just revolutionary. Honestly deserves credit for it. He deserves tons of credit for it.
Yeah.
How about this, guys? Sea legs. Sea legs. Oh, I love that. Sea legs.
Donald, somebody that fishes like me a lot.
Right.
Let me tell you about sea legs.
Yeah, please do.
Okay. Right. You could have your sea legs. The first time that I'm on the boat, it's a little wobbly, but every day on the boat with your sea legs, it's a different condition. You can't prepare. I can't prepare for what the weather's going to be like this summer and get my sea legs ready. These are things that that is probably one of the stupidest terms he's ever used. There's a tolerance for it is you can make a quick adjustment with sea legs, but 9 times out of 10, just because you've gone out fishing a couple of times doesn't make you a fisherman. You're just somebody that hangs out on the boat with a rod in their hand. It's a grind. The guys that he's brought in, they're all like, how many more utility players do we need? We need legit studs. We need a legit foundation on this team. Who's the foundation? Judge. That's your offensive foundation. Stanton. He's part of the offensive foundation when he's on the field. And because I hate criticizing Stanton, but it's when he's on the field. You could put Bellinger in that mix. He does play a lot. He does avoid the injured list. We saw him grind it out in the postseason. He knew he was hurt. We all knew he was hurt. He was giving it his all. Right. Cole coming back from an injury. You don't know if that beam might be a little loose until it gets re-anchored. There's no foundation. Volpe's not a foundation piece. Volpe is a broken picture frame on the wall that you just don't want to get rid of because your kids drew it. That's Volpe. Volpe is that favorite piece of artwork that your kids made that you don't like looking at, but you can't get rid of it. You were so proud of it when they brought it home. They're like, nobody goes in that bedroom. Just hang it up in there. But you can't get rid of it because it's ours. They're as inconsistent as my analogy has just been.
So let's look at these list of excuses here. We have, we're not rolling it back because Garrett Cole's coming back from the IL. Motherfucker, we've had Garrett Cole since like 2021. Right? It's not like he's just been acquired. I mean, we've had him for 4 years, and he's only missed 1 year. So let's calm down that he's like this new addition. Anyway, that's excuse number one. It's not exactly the same team because Garrett Cole's coming back. Great.
Yeah, Cole.
Beautiful excuse.
When Volpe gets back.
Beautiful excuse. Right? And then I love this. Yeah, they're feeling the ground and getting their sea legs under them. And a manager, too, learning how to utilize these guys. That was the problem. Aaron Boone just hadn't quite learned how to utilize all the utility players. That's what it was. Aaron Boone's been learning since 2018. How much more learning do we require until Aaron Boone figures it out? Is that just going to be an infinite amount of time now? I mean, if he's still learning how to utilize his roster, it's been 8 years. Is he still learning? Oh my God. So yeah, I love that one. So Boone's also getting his sea legs under him, guys. We can't judge Aaron Boone because he's still got his sea legs under him. It's been 8 years and he's still figuring that out. All right, cool. Right? Oh, yeah, and the roster, you know what? The roster just needs to get their sea legs under them. What the fuck are you talking about? Oh, I disagree. It's the same team running it back. And there's going to be some differences. Right. Okay. And I'm the president of the United States. I mean, calm down. See, here's the thing. I completely disagree with this premise of running it back. I think it's a dreadful, dreadful idea. And it's gonna implode. It's gonna fail. It is. It's almost a fact at this point. It's gonna fail. You don't even need to look ahead to next season. It's gonna fail. There's about as much chance of the Yankees winning a world championship as the Jets next season. Let's be honest. I'm just being honest here, guys. All right. Now, Yankees might make the playoffs. They're not going to do anything. So it's already cooked. So it's a terrible premise. Terrible. But if you are going to run that premise back, at least have the respect towards your fans as to not gaslight and bullshit them. Just all you have to say is this. All you have to say is this. You know what? We actually are really excited about the team that we have, right? And we felt that there was still something to unlock with them. And all you have to say is, I know it's a risk running it back, and I know there's going to be bullets my way if it doesn't work out, but I genuinely believe that there's more to come from this team. And so we want to give this one last chance. Okay? That's at least acknowledging the truth that it's a rollback, but at least you're not bullshitting people.
That's what we're asking. Don't bullshit.
That's what Cashman, that's what his shills, and what the media shills and the people on Twitter shills forget. I'm not asking Brian Cashman to trash his employees. I'm not asking Brian Cashman to trash his club. I'm not asking Brian Cashman to trash his performance. I'm asking for him just not to bullshit. And don't try and gaslight us. That's all I'm saying. Just don't gaslight us. How about that? Just say, listen, I know it's a risky strategy, but we're really excited about this team. We feel that another year with a little bit more internal work on some of these guys, I think we're going to get a little bit more out of them and unlock something there. And it could be a championship team, right? That's all you have to say, because at least you're not bullshitting anybody. At least you're acknowledging, you know what, it is rolling it back, but we're excited about it. See, that's the difference. But instead, Brian Cashman has taken a different tact altogether, where he is outwardly bullshitting you, he's outwardly gaslighting you, and that I have a serious, serious problem with. I mean, to pretend that you're not rolling it back just because Garrett Cole's coming back from injury is absurd. To say that, oh, it's not exactly the same roster because Aaron Boone is still learning is even more preposterous on two levels. One, if he hadn't figured out how to utilize that team correctly, why has he still got a job? Two, if he requires his sea legs after 8 years of managing this roster, when will he ever? So all Brian Cashman's done now is he's added a spotlight to the one guy that he protects with his entire life and being, Aaron Boone, which is so ironic. So what are you saying? Are you saying that this roster was a championship caliber roster? It was just because Aaron Boone didn't manage them correctly? Is that what you were inferring? Because if you're inferring, why is Aaron Boone still here?
So get a new manager. and these guys will reach their potential.
If that's what he's inferring, why is Aaron Boone still here? Oh, our manager's still working out how to utilize them. What do you mean utilize them? This is not football. It's not basketball. I mean, Judge is a right fielder, he plays right field. Trent Grisham's a center fielder, he plays center field. What are you talking about, utilize them? Right? I mean, it's such bullshit. Constant bullshit. And I have such an issue with it. And I honestly think that he disrespects us on a daily basis with this amount of gaslighting. It's ridiculous. And may I also point out, and this goes to the shills, because there are still shills. There are still shills that buy into every piece of crap that comes out of Brian Cashman's mouth. There are still shills out there, right? This goes to the shills. Brian Cashman said, I defy any of you to tell me this isn't a championship caliber roster, right? He did say that. I defy anyone, right? We're going to get into that. He said that. My question to you before we hand it back to Taz, my question to you, and I want you guys to think about this. The Dodgers are currently a dynasty. They have won last year's championship and the year before. 2 straight, right? They are winning it all the time now, right? Has at any point during this dynasty, has the Dodgers GM come out to tell the Dodgers fans, we're good. This is a world championship roster. We don't need to do anything, and we're good. Have you ever heard him say that at any point? Have you ever heard, Tats, have you heard it? Fans, if anybody of you in the chat, have you heard the Dodgers GM say, we're good? Have you? No, they're not rolling it back. They brought in Kyle Tucker. They brought in the best closer in baseball. That's with them having a dynasty right now. The Yankees have won jack shit since 2009. Absolute jack shit since 2009. And they are telling us we are a championship caliber roster. We're really good. We're not rolling it back when we actually are rolling it back. See the difference there? And my question to you guys is why? I'll tell you why. I'll help answer that rhetorical question for you. 1, the Yankees are self-satisfied. 2, Brian Cashman has something to hide. That's the truth. Brian Cashman has something to hide. You give him truth serum, he'll be honest with you. He knows this isn't a championship caliber roster. He knows he hasn't done a great job with $320 million to spend every year. He knows it. So he's gaslighting you, and he's bullshitting you to tell you that everything's great. That's what he's doing. Because the Dodgers, who genuinely win every year, still try to get better every offseason. Brian Cashman just told you that the offseason is actually the trade deadline from last year. Don't buy the bullshit. Uncle Tats.
No, it is bullshit. And they keep trying to serve it to us on a silver platter so it looks a little fancy. You know, but this team, well, are they, like I said, they're a playoff team. Right? This roster will make the playoffs. But they don't have that knockout punch on their roster aside from Judge. You know, Judge, and you can put Stanton in there. Erase last year's postseason. Everybody's going to have a bad series. You know, Stanton's been extremely reliable in pinstripes in the postseason. I'm not going to discard him because the last one might not have been that great. You know, but you can't have another year where you get to the playoffs and it just seems like you laid down. And it all falls down on the manager. The manager is the problem. You know, you
And
have
the
a
general
GM.
manager. Cashman's a problem too, bro.
Well, Cashman's not on the field with these guys. He's not in the dugout. So the grind of game to game, it does fall on Boone. And Boone can only manage the players that Cashman gives him. It's all part of this whole trickle effect. Cashman can only work under the budgetary guidelines that Hal sets. It's this whole pyramid of ineptitude and malfeasance. I'll throw that word out there. You can't. The whole house of cards is going to collapse, and it is collapsing because like I said, Donald. In the open. I didn't know that Bellinger was not on the team last year. I didn't know Grisham wasn't on the team last year.
News to me too.
I didn't know that Rosario wasn't on the team last year. So yes, it's the same team. It's the added Ryan Weathers and a couple arms here and there.
Cade Winquist, baby.
It's the same team. Stop bullshitting.
Of course, it's the same team. That's why it's such bullshit. Yep. They're rolling it back.
Well, we added, and yes, it's true. Cashman, the players that he acquired at the trade deadline are under control. He didn't make any trades for rentals. So yeah, you are going to have a different opening day roster than you did last year. True. But to say you're not running it back, come on. This is the same team that flopped in the postseason. This is the team that fell short. That after they beat Boston in glorious fashion, was like, all right, we're good. We knocked out Boston. We can relax now. And they got embarrassed by Toronto. Another team in the division.
And here's the problem. Here's the problem. They're downplaying that they got destroyed by Toronto. Because Brian Cashman is telling us, one bad series doesn't define the team. That's what it's all about, though. When you get to the playoffs, that defines your team. But the Yankees are constantly trying to rewrite their narrative because they keep failing in the postseason. So they now rewrite the narrative. One series doesn't define the team. Well, it defined the team back in the day. Defined the team when you had some standards. If a team doesn't do well in the postseason, that pretty much defines your roster. That it wasn't good enough. But the Yankees are like, no. Don't believe your lying eyes. Once again, gaslighting, a PhD level. No, we didn't get destroyed by Toronto. That's just you being a bad fan. That's what Brian Cashman is telling you. We didn't get destroyed by Toronto. It was just one little bad series. That's all. It happens. And you're just a bad fan. That's what it comes down to. Unfortunately, now we've got Joel Sherman that's backing it up. And now we got media members that are backing it up. So if you don't believe that there's some aspects of the media that parrot the Yankee narrative, then I can't help you, because that is exactly what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
And I've lost epic amounts of respect for Joel Sherman, for him calling us idiots and calling us stupid, and to shut the F up. Shut the fuck up.
That was
just disgraceful. Just disgraceful. So beneath what he is as a writer. You can disagree with aspects of the Yankee fan base if you want, but you don't need to call us idiots and stupid. And but that's just it's just going for the lowest common denominator, right? And also, his whole premise of his conversation was also flawed, because I don't know anybody in the Yankee fan base that was saying, "Oh no, we can't sign Cody Bellinger now." When we brought back Trent Grisham, that wasn't the conversation. The question was that once that you've allocated $22.5 million to Trent Grisham, and then you sign Cody Bellinger, that takes up your budget, and that stops you from making any other moves. And that's exactly what's happened. So stop trying to lie to us. Stop trying to bullshit us. Stop trying to piss on our heads and tell us it's raining. This is not what the reality. The reality is exactly what happened. Because you brought back Trent Grisham as a qualifying offer, that $22.5 million, plus Cody Bellinger's freaking crazy contract, right? Which apparently was this amazing genius work from Brian Cashman to punch Scott Boras in the face and to defeat him, right? It's still a massive contract, massive overpay, right? You're talking about like 55, 60 million combined with those guys, plus the luxury tax aspect to it. That's a very expensive two sets of contracts. That's why the Yankees haven't gone into anything else. They didn't go into the free agent market. They haven't upgraded the rest of the roster. They are just rolling it back. So just admit it. Stop trying to bullshit us. Like Yankee fans, New Yorkers, people that follow the Yankees have a low threshold for bullshit because we see through it. We see through it. And what Brian Cashman's doing is just a whole jet stream of it. Be better. As I said at the start of the show, you can tell us that you're rolling it back and tell us why you're doing it. And at least you're not bullshitting us. Instead, you're pretending that you're not rolling it back. And at that point, you're just arguing semantics. And at that point, it's a lost argument because everyone knows the truth. You are rolling it back. Now, some people, there will be still a percentage saying that it's a great idea. 90% of the fan base hate it, but it is what it is. At least you're not trying to bullshit us.
No, we knew they had. We've been talking about it all off season. We knew they had every intention they were going to go. They were going to jump through, hellfire and brimstone to get Bellinger back. We knew that. But the problem with that is, look, Bellinger, we said it, solid player. I'm not going to complain that he's on the roster. But while Tucker was available, that should have been the focus. It was not the focus because of Grisham. So that's where those dominoes have fallen. That's why we're frustrated the way we are. It's not that they haven't made moves to, put players, in their proper position. There were other players out there that could have served a better purpose. The Yankees have not gone for that knockout punch when it comes to free agency, especially with a bat. I can't say it at all because, Fried, Rodon, those were guys, we all wanted them on the team. We were back, like, that's the move, and they did it. Whether it pans out, that's a different story. But we can't complain that they're here. Grisham, we didn't want him back. So, yes, we can complain that he's here. There's a portion of the fan base that was okay with moving on from Bellinger. I got to that point myself.
Yeah.
Where if he would have gone somewhere else, it would have been like, well, we gave him an offer. He opted out of he's the one that took the option to leave us and then try to handcuff us to give him, what he wanted. Well, if you were so driven to be a part of, a member of the Yankees, why'd you opt out to begin with? If you were so happy to be here. And you're motivated to bring this team a World Series. Why'd you opt out? Greed got in the way because of of who your agent is. So I was ready to move on from him. Am I pissed off he's back? Absolutely not. I still say I'd rather, I think the money is worth it because you have one player that can play 4 positions. And I think there's value to that. It's also going to take the pressure off of Ben Rice to have to play first every game. Because I do think we're going to see Bellinger at first face a lot more often than some people are thinking. He's
You
not
think
going to be a
so?
straight outfielder. I do.
I'm not sure. Mr. Bombay, we haven't played one game, LOL, and everyone is moaning, but I understand that you need to talk about something. Well, the title of this episode is Cashman Boone, we are not running it back. So we are talking about the fact that they are running it back. That's what we're talking about. Is it moaning? No, it's just calling bullshit, calling out shit for shit. Hey, if you want a podcast to wave pom-poms, go find one. I'm not waving pom-poms over people, over Brian Cashman lying to us, telling us that we're not rolling it back. They're rolling it back, and I'm not accepting it because it's bullshitting us. It's bullshitting everybody. If he wants to bullshit us, just tell us the truth. Yeah, we're running it back, but we're excited about the team. Use your ears, Bombay.
It's like when Boone said it at the end of the season. I would bring this team back in a heartbeat. This team, was destined for more. Okay, but I think that was probably the most honest that Boone has been. And Cashman was like, "What? You really want this team back? I'll give it to you." So.
Sure
But you can't make this statement that you would run it back with these guys at the end of the regular season, and then a couple of weeks before spring training, go, yeah, we're not running it back. Like, which is it? Did you want these guys back? You got them, and it's if you and FJ, and if you really enjoy the podcast, all you got to do is hit that sub button, hit the like button, and share this out and help us grow. We always, we don't think, we haven't gotten to a lot of the comments today, but we are reading them as they come in. Trust me. These are situations where if we're not calling it, no, we do have a good season. We have a good team. But why can't we wish for a great team? That's my question. When in the offseason is Cashman?
Let me answer his question here. If you caught me at the start of the episode, I said exactly what Brian Cashman should have said. Because obviously that full quote that I read out at the start of the episode was just full of gaslighting. You don't need to defend your roster by gaslighting. You could just defend your roster by saying, listen, we're excited about this team. We feel we can unlock more aspects to it. Yes, I understand it's a controversial strategy, running back the same team, but we feel that with I don't know, just bullshit speak, I don't know, just with a little bit more unlocking, that we can maybe reach a higher threshold, higher plateau, something like that. You say that because at least you're acknowledging that it is rolling it back, but you're still excited about the team. That is how what he could have done. Instead, he's telling you what you see isn't reality, which is the definition of gaslighting. That's exactly what it is. It's not the same roster because Garrett Cole's coming back from the IL. You're just arguing semantics. Stop it. And those kind of things. They just needed sea legs. They needed their sea legs. Well, you said Anthony Volpe needed his sea legs the last time. How did that work out for him? So it's very easy to pinpoint where I'm being led bullshit, and I'm not accepting it. I think it's insulting to the fan base. We don't deserve this. We don't deserve beat writers screaming at us, telling us that we're idiots. We don't deserve that either. Why can't we just have a conversation? Call shit for shit. Brian Cashman, you are running it back. It is a flawed strategy, but God bless you if you feel that that's the best way of going about it. At least tell us the truth. We felt that in this marketplace, this was the best use of our assets, right? at least defend it. Instead, he's pretending what you're seeing isn't reality. So hence the definition of gaslighting. I don't like that. I will never agree with it, and I'm calling it out. I'm not Nostradamus, but I can pretty much predict how this is going to go this year.
If they were to say, if they had said in the press conference, whether it was Boone or Cashman, I would come on the show today and applaud them if they made this statement. Right? We're really confident with the team that we had last year. We had a few hiccups along the way, but we did, although we ended the season in a tie with the Blue Jays, it wasn't good enough. But we feel with this offense and the addition of Cole coming back at any capacity because of his professional attitude towards baseball, we feel we can get more games under our belt in the win column than the loss column. And we feel confident that we can, reach, we can gain 5 more wins with a competent closer, along with the return of Garrett Cole. Is that such a bad statement? Like, that's a statement I could get behind. Right. But don't try to sell us something. I'm already holding the product in my hand. Don't tell me I'm not looking at what I see.
Right.
I see the same roster. Ryan Weathers is not that game changer that you added to this roster that's different from last year. Yes, the one statement that they said that I appreciated was when they did say, when they're talking about the acquisitions from the previous trade deadline, where those players are under control. So although it's the same team, now that we've gotten through the second half of the year together, let's see what they can do as a unit all year. Okay. I'm not happy about the way the roster was constructed.
Right. But at least you're acknowledging reality.
At least now I can understand your mindset.
Right. Acknowledge the reality that you're rolling it back. Here's why we're rolling it back. Yeah. That's what Brian Cashman could have done.
That's all he had to say.
He chose to gaslight you. So let's go through some of the comments in the chat. We've got a lot of people in the chat that all want to say something. Frank Rivera, I stopped listening to anything Cashman says a long time ago. That's why I don't end up getting upset. Like Keith McPherson says, don't piss down my leg and tell me it's raining. Mm-hmm. Exactly. That's the difference. That's the key here. Let's get other comments up. So shout out to NFE. I agree with Jay Snow here. They're relying on too many repeat performances. I completely agree with that. There's a lot of projects. They're relying on a lot of things that has to go absolutely perfect. This, like half of this bullpen are project pieces, so that all has to work out flawlessly for a start. They also need to get like 3/5 of their rotation back from injury without any hitches. That's another big aspect to it too.
It's a tall task.
Right. And then Anthony Volpe needs to not only recover from his shoulder, but recover from the fact he's a terrible baseball player. That's a big problem. And then third base, McMahon suddenly needs to learn how to not strike out 300 times. And then second base, you need to learn how Jazz Chisholm needs to learn how to not yawn during games and not strike out 300 times. And first base, Ben Rice needs to learn a new position. And catcher, Austin Wells has to prove that he is actually a league average hitter at the major league level, which he hasn't done yet. Woo! Trent Grisham has to prove that with a $22.5 million contract, that last year wasn't just a contract year.
And we also have to hope that Dominguez gets significant playing time to evaluate what he truly is.
Because every other year in his career, he's bat below 200. And he's never had a year like he had last year. Right. So that's a lot of things that we're relying on here. Then we get to Cody Bellinger, who was our incredible signing that we need a press conference for. He has been a bad baseball player 4 out of his last 6 years. That's not me saying it. That's the statistics saying it. So, calm down. So you need to have him have the same kind of year as he had last year, because if you had anything like the year that you had in 2024, we're in big trouble. That was the year they had the Cubs make him available for a trade to the Yankees and accept nothing in return just to get his contract off their books, which you don't do with a superstar, which he clearly isn't. Thus, you are relying on a lot of things. Then you need Aaron Boone to get his sea legs under him, apparently. It's been, since 2018. He's still not figured that out. So, if you guys don't see any flaw in any of that plan, then good luck to you. I see a lot of flaws in that plan, personally. Right. What else have we got? John the Beagle Dad, shout out to you, man. I thought it sucked hearing Cashman in the media gaslight and have the nerve to bash us fans. I agree. FJ's right here. My issue is being told the Yankees are the best offensive stats. The numbers are misleading. Situational hitting was amongst the worst in the league. The team record versus the AL East was poor. Salute. Absolutely spot on.
That's why when you hear a lot of these talking heads and they're like, "Oh, we had, we had the most runs in the league or most home run." You hit 30% of your home runs in the first series against Milwaukee, and you beat up on it. It doesn't matter if you put up 20 runs against the Colorado Rockies. You have to put up more than one run against the teams in your division. I love that comment. You have to put up more. You have to put up a crooked number against the teams in your division, so you win your division. It doesn't cut it. Yes, yes. More times than not, last year we saw an emphasis on beating the teams they were supposed to beat. But when you want to win, when your goal is to win the World Series, and the first step to that is winning your division, you have to beat the teams in your division. That's how you gain the edge to win the division. They laid an egg against everybody.
Cashman makes me seasick. Jason Custodio. Jay Snow, Volpe is a log of shit in the bowl. I like that. Joseph Salvatore, agree, man. Volpe is a little leaguer, complete bust. But no, he just needs to get his sea legs under him, Jason. That's all it is. Just needs to get his sea legs.
Yeah.
Let's see what else we got here. Got so many comments in the chat, so thank you, everybody.
I want to bring up this one here.
Bring up some.
All right. He's saying he would sign Framber Valdez today. I would not. I think he's got a severe attitude problem. We all saw that, the intentional cross up with his catcher. This team is trying to,
I actually would sign Valdez personally. I would, but
you would?
Yeah.
If I'm going to bring in a pitcher off the free agent market, I'm going for Zach Gallen. I've always liked him. He's the guy I would take over Valdez. Just because I think Valdez is. We already have one headache with his attitude with Jazz. I'm not bringing another guy. I need somebody that's focused and wants to work with his team and win. There were a couple of others I wanted to bring up. We got Doran with the money coming off the books at the end of the season, maybe blowing up and going $380 million for 1 year could have worked.
At least it's a strategy.
That's we all knew going into the year, even with the money coming off the books after this season, they were sticking to their budget. They were. They were going to do everything they can because the owners talked about it year after year. Wanted to bring the money down.
I agree with Issy here. I would sign him too. This team needs someone problematic and disruptive. They all get along too well for my taste. Yeah, remember what Hal Steinbrenner was asked in his one public appearance? He says, what was the aspect that he liked about last year's team? He says that they all got on really well. I love that. It's like it's the Boy Scouts. Oh, it's togetherness. That's what it's all about. Being together with friends. That's what it's about. Handing out ice cream and singing Kumbaya and playing guitar together and sharing. Aaron Boone loves to have his teammates share. Remember that's what he said after we got mollywopped against the Dodgers in the World Series? It's like, a lot of our guys are back there in the clubhouse right now sharing. Oh, shut up. So yeah, I wouldn't mind having a couple of assholes in the team.
Yeah, like Jonathan saying, this is the Kumbaya team, and it is.
It is. It's dreadful. I can't handle it.
Like there were points where when Jazz was running his mouth with a lot of the shit talk, I was all for it. Finally, but I always say, if you're going to run your mouth, you have to hit the ball. Like you have to, your play on the field has to back up what you're saying. And Jazz did not do that enough.
Not at all.
And then the cherry on top with the yawn. That was, you don't do that in the Bronx, buddy. Sorry.
I came across a website that has the Yankees currently projected to be fourth place with it as an 87-win team. Fourth place. So at the moment, I agree. At the moment, it's a third or fourth place team at this current juncture. I need to see a lot more to be convinced it's anything other than a third or fourth place team. That might be enough for. Here we go. Here's another statistic here. I agree with Warren France Sports Network. New York Yankees were 32-32 against 500 teams. 27-25 versus the AL East, 23-22 in one-run games, 6-11 versus the Blue Jays, 4-9 versus the Red Sox. That's absurd. And I believe that the Blue Jays and the Red Sox are currently better than the Yankees right now. The Orioles are definitely better than they were last year. Definitely. Now, the Red Sox you can debate. I'd say the Yankees and the Red Sox are pretty even. But the Blue Jays are clearly better, right? So if they're already clearly better roster now than they were last year, and we were 6-11 against them, that could be worse. The Red Sox are better than they were last year. Thus, it could be worse than 4-9. And the Orioles are better because they've added significantly. Thus, they're going to take some games off us too. There's a very strong chance the Yankees will have a below 500 record against teams within the AL East. Because if we were 32-32 last year, I think it's going to get worse. I think it's 27-25 versus the AL East. I think it's going to get worse than that. There's a good chance we'd finish below 500 versus AL East teams because Aaron Boone doesn't manage well against the AL East. He's always struggled. Traditionally struggled against the Blue Jays manager. Definitely gets mollywopped off Alex Cora in the regular season anyway, and the postseason apart from last year. So he struggles against good managing. So I don't know, but he's still getting his sea legs under him. I don't want to be too harsh on him.
I want to bring up one more thing that was said in the press conference before, to wrap this up. And, it was regarding Volpe. When they said that he will not be, they want to make sure he's 110% before putting him on the field every day. Now, is that them just wanting to protect their boy, or are they starting to come around to see that, all right, maybe, we may not be, maybe we're not going to see Volpe as quick as we thought. that they are going to hold off on really bringing him back full time. And it's going to come down to how Caballero is playing. If Caballero is tearing it up, please tear it up at shortstop so we don't have this guy come back.
Wait a minute. Stuff and things. Are you arguing that it was the lineup that was the reason why we couldn't get past Toronto? Or did you see the scores? Beat back-to-back football scores. They put up double digits on us in back-to-back games. I mean, yeah, the hitting, I didn't like the situational hitting, but the pitching was a big, big problem. They got a tell. They got a major tell from Yankee pitching, and so they just destroyed it. That's what I'm saying, is that the Yankees got destroyed in that series. Offensively and defensively and pitching. They got absolutely destroyed. And that's why I do have a major problem with the premise that, one bad series doesn't define them. Well, it was a terrible series in every aspect.
Yeah.
Every aspect. They couldn't pitch, they couldn't hit, but they especially couldn't pitch. And that was our one strength. And the defense was a joke. Everything was terrible. So it says to me that there's this flaw in this roster, but we're just rolling back the same roster. I have a major problem with that.
I mean,
but Warren Francis is killing it right now. Cashman will never lose his job no matter what, and it will always be an excuse as to why it's not their fault. Exactly. Boom.
Yep.
This organization was willing to let Judge walk. Warren Francis is killing it. That's spot on. That is absolutely spot on.
Yeah, I mean, the bottom line with shortstop is they have to make an adjustment. That's why I'm really I want Caballero to just kill it through the spring and into the start of the year. Because that's just going to hopefully delay Volpe just walking right back in and taking his spot. But that's really just a pipe dream. And all right, Izzy, thank you for the $4.99 super chat. Uncle Tats, I strongly disagree with you and Donald. This is not the same team. I heard the Nest Network got all new player emojicons avatars for 2026.
Thank you for the super chat. That's cheered us up. That's cheered us up.
That was the laugh we all needed. That was great, Izzy. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. Now, look, I don't have. Did I desire more in the off season? Absolutely, we all do. I just said I would still love an opportunity to try to get Zach Gallen in, and just anchor that rotation just a little more. I would love a bullpen piece that could complement, Duvall, Cruz, and Bednar. I don't think they're going to do that. If they do, awesome. If you really wanted to run this team back, just tell us so.
Just be honest about it. Yeah.
I'd rather be pissed off that you were honest than pissed off that you bullshitted us.
That's it.
That's the bottom line.
Much, much clearer. Very well put. Stuff and things, dude. I don't like our lineup. I've been saying it for days. I don't like this lineup.
Yeah.
This lineup is severely flawed. There's not enough right-handed hitting. The best right-handed hitter after Big G in the lineup is Caballero / Volpe. That's not good enough. So yeah, there's some serious problems with our lineup. It's a severely flawed lineup, situationally terrible lineup. So absolutely agree. However, in that series against Toronto, it was the pitching that was the major problem. Major problem.
Yep. But one thing that is not a problem, and that is all our amazing subscribers and our audience to our social media. Appreciate every single one of you. We know another bitter weekend is approaching, so just make sure that you stay safe in the weather. It is going to be cold, icy. Who knows what the hell is going to happen? with this storm coming through. But throughout the East Coast, North, South, it doesn't matter anymore. They're going after everybody. Mother
Stay
Nature.
safe, everybody.
But with that, make sure you do stay safe this weekend. Enjoy yourselves. One more week to the Super Bowl. So next week, when we have Luca with us, we'll be doing our annual Super Bowl predictions that we enjoy doing, which will be a lot of fun this year. Now that I know what the hell I'm talking about. So with that, make sure you hit that like button, hit that sub button, share this out, your friends, your family. The strangers on the corner. Hope everybody does enjoy themselves. And as always, wear those pinstripes of pride and play on.
Thanks, guys.